Hi. This is the Theorist here. Today, in this video, we're going to go on the mainstream of YouTube, especially the Manosphere, and we're going to talk about a video that I saw. And it's a bit gross, but at the same time, I really wanted to touch on this topic because my aunt in my head, Jedediah Bila, she speaks about it, and some other YouTubers are speaking about it. And I thought that I would bring a different perspective, especially being someone not from the United States of America. I did not grow up there. And having lived in America as well for a period of time, and being a Black Caribbean woman, and seeing all the chaos that is going on online, I just wanted to bring my perspective on this woman who denies, or is in denial, I should say, about her 130 plus high body count. And so let's get into it. Before I go and start, remember to like, share, subscribe, do all the goodies so that we can get a little bit of traction on this channel and so more people can see me and hear me. And if you have any comments, any opinions, if you don't give a shit about any of this, let me know too.
Predicted my future, why wouldn't I relapse? Like that doesn't make any sense. People can change. We're human beings. We have issues. My ex also sold drugs in his past, but does that make him like a bad person today? No. People make mistakes.
Yes, duh. People do make mistakes. I think the question is, are you continuing those mistakes? Are you accountable to the role that you play in making your mistakes? Are you blaming a situation or someone else? Are you changing or learning from those mistakes? I think that's the real question. And I wonder if she really learned anything. Let's see.
So I don't know.
Are you referencing the fact that you have a high body count?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's just my
people can change, but because of your high body count and your previous sexual addiction, that might be a reason or reasons why.
A lot of the videos that I have watched with respect to this, and this is why I went straight to whatever clips, because at least I would see the context. People take that out completely. That part where he says she is a sexual addict and she's agreeing with him. Persons are calling her a little bit crazy, a little bit mad, a lot crazy, a lot mad, but they did not include this section about being a sexual addict. And that says a lot about who she is and where she is at, and why her reaction and her body energy is like that. But I want to just point out Miss Lady over here. What is going on with her? She looks, just by hearing this, so stressed. Let's continue.
Men might want to disqualify you or preclude pursuing you because of that.
And that's fine. That's their personal preference. But if you're going to use my past against me and say that, like I can no longer emotionally connect with a man because I've done this, and this with however many people, that's just not true. I feel.
Now, I am not in her situation, so I can't really say if it's true or not. What I do know is that with the passing of time, trauma scars you, where you cannot operate the same, whether or not it's self-induced trauma, as in her sexual addiction, or trauma caused by other persons. Your capacity to function is gone, and to function normally, I should say, is gone.
Like when I look at a man that I'm in love with to this day, I still feel I just personal experience. I just don't feel that way.
But the thing is that, I mean, sure, that could be the case, but I mean, there's studies on this. CDC did the study on this. I mean, the more premarital sexual partners you've had, the greater likelihood of infidelity, the greater likelihood of reporting relationship dissatisfaction, the greater likelihood of divorce, greater likelihood of STD, greater likelihood of let's see what else. You have a more difficult time pair bonding.
Right.
So
So, but did they do that study with women that were consistently sleeping with multiple men, or did they do that study with women that like slept with like 50 dudes like 1 year and then they held off for like 2 years straight? Because I feel like the longer as time goes on, my body's kind of like reset itself. It's like I'm getting sober again. You know what I mean? I'm finally seeing with like a clearer head and not having to sexualize everybody all the time.
No, she has a point, and a lot of persons in the manosphere, they are really misusing statistics and actually want to do something on Pearly Thing, just Pearly Things, one of these days, on how she misuses statistics. She is right. When you select persons for a study now, this is where I always tell you guys, and you can check out my previous videos. I know a lot of things about a lot of different things, right? When you are selecting someone, you are supposed to, or a group of persons, to speak to a particular topic or study. You want to select someone that is representative. So the real question is, did they really go through all the options of the types of persons that you may have and then select persons that is representative of the different types of persons? So let's say you have a population of 100, you want to get a sample of 30, just calling a number here, and your population characteristics, let's say, is 50% virgin and 25%, as she said, had fun a whole year, a lot of guys, and then wean herself off, and then a next 25% just going with respect to intimate activity. So that means that in the conducting of the study, the groups of the researchers, I should say, should be asking them some initial questions as to their sexual attitudes and their sexual activity, though the respondent sexual attitudes and sexual activity. So she's asking a very, very good question. Now, if they did that, then her point is mute because then he is right.
Because I sexualized women just as much as I did men. Like it was always a competition thing, right? Because I was trying to have sex. So, but regardless, you know what I mean?
well, I don't know if this is, and this just occurred to me, so I don't
Mhm.
know if it's a perfect analogy, but you mentioned, well, what if, how soon after the promiscuity, so to speak, did they do the study? I'm not sure on that, but this might not be an apt analogy. I think take cigarette smokers, for example. So if someone's just constantly smoking every single day, and then you do a study on their lungs or something, this might be this might not even make sense. You do a study on their lungs, and they just smoked a pack yesterday. Maybe there's going to be something there. But then if they cease smoking, say for 2 years, I think there is some degree of regeneration that your lungs can
Right.
undertake. However, your lungs will still be fucked up. There is some permanent damage there that's not going to
Yeah.
be undone.
Yeah. And I'm just, listen,
And he's not wrong as well. And this is why we have discussions to learn from each other. In the manosphere, and I am not in the manosphere. I was just thinking about that today. I was listening to another YouTuber, and they were like, I'm not in the manosphere. And I'm like, you all speak as if the manosphere is a building on Utica in New York or something like that. Right? If it's somewhere that you have to be, you don't have to be anywhere with respect to the manosphere. You don't have to be on our side. You could believe and agree with some things, and you could disagree with some things. Anyway, let me get back to the point. He is making a very good point in terms of the capacity of the body to regenerate. Uh, it is damage is always done. Trauma, there's a book by Joe Dispenza where he talks about your body having a record of all the trauma that you've ever had, and I think it's the same book. Let me see. I don't want to tell you guys the wrong thing, so I'm gonna Google one time. All right. Who wrote The Body Keeps the Score? Yes, The body keep, and then there's another book which is in the same line of what Joe Dispenza was speaking to, The Body Keeps the Score by author Bessel van der Kolk. I hope I'm saying that correctly. They speak to that. They speak to your body keeping track. So yes, you are allowing yourself to heal, but the damage that is there might take as long or even twice as long as the time that it would have taken to cause that particular damage. The body is a very interesting entity. When we really think about the body, we should really start to think about the body as a solar system. The same way we are on Earth, and every one individual's activity can cause a whole war, or one plastic thrown into the sea can cause a whale to choke. Everything that we do to the earth affects us in ripples, and we should think about our body like that. Everything that we do to our body, being it in itself a universe of itself or a world of itself, causes each cell, which could be considered as each individual, to be damaged in some way, and we don't even know. And then we get sick later on. And that's how sometimes a person could stop smoking. I knew a guy, he stopped smoking in his 30s, and by the time he was close to 60, he got lung failure. And he was like, but I stopped smoking. Why is that happening? But that's what the body does, it keeps the score.
Listen, again, I'm not looking for a high value man. You know what I mean? I would probably find somebody within my league, like somebody who's in recovery, somebody who knows how, even then, like some people still can't understand sex addiction. They don't even think it's a real thing, but like somebody who's
Right. No, see, I look, if I am so mad. I'm so glad and I'm mad that I came to find the original video. Why isn't any of the other YouTubers showing this? This woman is not outside here saying, I want a millionaire who has best health and STD free. She is honest about where she is at. And in the other videos, persons are making her out as completely rational. She knows what she is. How many of us know what we are while we're judging her? And I'm going to judge her just now, but I'm just saying she at least knows what she is.
in that field. So I think generally in life, people date within their leagues. I don't think men date down or anything like that. But
Actually, well, men, I would say men do date.
I don't think
Date down.
well, why are like models marrying with athletes, and like why are celebrities
Athletes,
marrying
wait.
celebrities? You know what I mean? Or
Oh,
models
okay.
marrying presidents, or you could say, you know, that people date generally within their social class or league.
Well, I mean, there's generally speaking, I say men date across and down socioeconomic hierarchies. Women date across and up socioeconomic hierarchies.
He's agreeing with her in a way, across, and it's just the and that is getting in that way. And we would date up because of the social construct of society that has made us date up, right? That need to be taken care of. Now, again, when we have conversations in the world, we are so charged to disagree with someone that we don't see that more or less, in a way, we're kind of saying the same thing, just with one or two notable differences.
I mean, I don't know. It's just my opinion.
Not only date, but men will sleep down. Most women won't sleep down.
Yeah, men will sleep down for sure, but I don't know. I just
Men
like,
date down too.
I don't think so. Are men date down?
Yeah.
No,
It's way harder for men to get women than the reverse.
Well, I'll tell you, I've like flirted with guys that I know are out of my league, and they don't want anything to do with me.
Yeah.
So they
Sure.
don't date.
And this is the problem that I have with the manosphere, right? And the general way of discussion. They take these women who live in their own bubble. Not that there's anything wrong with living in a bubble. I wish that I lived in a bubble and didn't think about the world and existence so much, to tell you the honest truth. But they live in a bubble where they could only understand the world from their experiences, which is the case of most persons. And they take these young persons, 30s, 20s, and they put them on a desk. And then they pick up statistics and research by academics who went to school for years to become experts, and academics who are paid by organizations and by universities to answer these core questions. And then they present them to these girls who may come from a bad childhood, as this woman has said. She was based to be watching explicit porn. I don't want to say the word, I don't want to get banned. Explicit activities online, or in whatever way she watched them growing up, and her parents not knowing there was some amount of neglect there. So they pick these girls up from these backgrounds. We don't know how if they have a degree, if they did a PhD to be able to be an author. Of course, by their presentations, in most cases they are not. And they present these statistics to these women and say, here, look, some statistics. Do a critical analysis of these statistics. And all these women could basically do is say, this is my experience, because that is all they know. So it is unfair, in my book, to do something like this, because neither do they have the breadth of thought and reading when it comes to the topic to counteract anything that is brought to them. And what it shows is that young women are mindless. This approach, I would like, and I don't know, again, as I always say, I'm a new YouTuber. I would like any one of these channels, whatever clips, um who is these people, these two guys that Aban Preacher always pick on, those two guys, to bring women who did these studies and who have lived all over the world and lived an extensive life, and talk to them with your statistics.
Down.
Well, it's not a guarantee that all men are going to, but I would say generally speaking, men will date
Oh,
down.
are you talking about social class or attractiveness?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Men definitely date down social class.
Okay, you could argue that.
A man who's a doctor, a man who's attorney will date a barista. A female attorney, a female doctor, she's probably not looking a barista's way.
I don't know.
Attractiveness, that's a bit. I'd say men still date down on that realm, but that's a different
way, dude. No, Come on, Brian. You can't be pulling my leg like that.
Well, here
I think they'll screw down. I think they'll screw what, you know how many I've had like Instagram male models drive all the way up from LA to like my house to come get it on with me. What? But would he ever date me?
Okay, that's a fair point. Yes.
Right.
A lot of men will sleep points down. Mm-hmm. If you think of their equivalent attractiveness level, yeah, they'll sleep down for sure. But you're right that in terms of getting commitment from that guy, no.
There you go. That was my point.
No, so yes, you're right. Like, but I would say, but here's the thing though, is women don't sleep down looks either, generally speaking. For I would say, and look, there's outliers. Some chick might be drunk and she hooks up.
Like, what is the point of this conversation? To show a social construct that we have known for so long. And does this even matter if women sleep down in looks and if men sleep down in looks? I question the futility of, and then I question the futility of this conversation. And by questioning the futility of these conversations, I also question the futility of me watching these things and commenting to you guys. What is life at this point in time? What is life? That this is the type of conversations we have when men and women have so much deep contrasts and contradictions that make us sit on the opposite sides of the table and not come together and find a solution, because there are effects to children that and to our own lives that are happening in this moment right now.
Well,
some
she will if
frog
she's
or
in a
something.
guy, right? Like if she has an
Okay, but
go
yeah,
ahead.
so a guy can make up for it in other
Yeah.
ways through status, money, and personality. So if charismatic, men can make up for their bad looks in other ways. Whereas I think women, even if you got a great personality, it's not gonna shift that much in terms of the kind of sexual pull that or relationship pull that you can get from men. However, for a woman to sleep with a guy, he needs to be at least attractive enough for her to consider being in a relationship with him. When I say attractive, at least attractive enough, physically attractive enough.
Oh, yeah, I agree
He
there.
he has to at least be physically attractive enough for her to consider being in a relationship with. Whereas for men, it's the opposite. Men will sleep with women in terms of their physical appearance that they would never consider being in a relationship with.
Right, but you said that men date down as far as women's appearance, and I
They
said
still
that.
do. Because some men like, yeah, men don't have love.
See what I mean? According to what they say in my country, he tying himself up, dread. So he's just tying himself up. And so what's the point? What's the point? I think I'm going to end here. And with respect to her 130 body count, it's all over the internet. I would say that I'm glad that I watched this video, because I would understand her 130 body count. And my intent was to kind of bring some reality to the activities of the 130, because when we touch each other skin to skin and share our fluids, it is my belief that we are sharing ourselves, and sharing everything about us, because we, as I said, we are worlds, we are universes, we carry all sorts of different things. And I'm not talking about STDs now, I'm talking about things written in our code, viruses that doctors don't treat, things that are part of us, because they are like a city within in ourselves, right? If you speak to anyone who knows about the gut, they will tell you the gut has millions and millions of bacteria in it. So, and your gut is linked to your brain. And so to me, it's like a big city that exists in the gut, operating to digest your food. And to me, that's the same thing that's going on in your intimate parts. But I'm glad that I watched it, because now I know that she had an addiction. And when we have an addiction, we need to call that out instead of just shaming her, even though I love those who did bring up the according to Auntie Jed, the nastiness of it. It is nasty, but two things can be true at the same time. It can also be out of pain and out of hurt. This is the Theorist.